Hi, folks. Welcome back. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh serving humanity from the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies on Friday.
And now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
You know, I just realized we've only taken one call today. It's Open Line Friday. That's because I've had so much to say. But we're gonna rectify that in this hour. And we're going to take another call. And then maybe another one after that. So here's the telephone number, 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. When we next get to the audio soundbites, it'll be the drive-by media in crisis. Obama's speech didn't live up to Clinton. Obama's speech didn't even live up to Biden. Obama's speech disappointed them. They don't know how to explain it. They don't know why it was so bad. They don't know why they felt so empty after hearing it. They don't know why it wasn't any better than it was. If you are just joining us, you're a welfare recipient just getting out of bed. Clint Eastwood granted an interview to a local newspaper where he lives, the Carmel Pinecone. And in this interview, he said President Obama is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people. Let me ask you a quick question. If Eastwood had said that at the convention, instead of what he did, he went out there with an empty chair. If he had just done a traditional political convention speech and as part of it said, Obama's the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people, what do you think the reaction would have been? Now, in the convention hall, it would have erupted, and you and I would have gone nuts, and we would have loved it. But what about others? You think so? You think that his name would have been stricken from every Hollywood production he's ever had anything to do with? You would no longer be able to rent the Dirty Harry movies or buy them, for example. Well, what's different than saying it now than then? I mean, it's out there, as many people are going to hear about it. Doesn't matter. It's in print, and there's no video. No video of it. Okay, that's interesting. There's no video, no pictures of it. I think Eastwood, he knew exactly what he was doing. He went out there, said what he said, did it the way he intended to do it. It still got life. His appearance is still being talked about. But you know, the Republican consultants would have said, if he'd have said that at our convention, that would have really turned off the independents. That would have been very bad. That would not have been respectful disagreement with Obama. That would have been personal insult, and the independents would not have liked it. That's what our consultants would have said. But now that he said it, Obama's the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people. And then he said Romney and Ryan would do a much better job running the country, and that's what everybody needs to know. I may have irritated a lot of the lefties, but I was aiming for people in the middle. This is brilliantly conceived, flawlessly executed stuff. He said what he said. It lasted, well, it still lasts over a week. And now he adds to it with a local newspaper interview, the Carmel Pinecone. That's one reason that you hope newspapers don't all die out. We all need to be able to quote from the Carmel Pinecone. I don't care if the big national newspapers have to. The local papers, that's a whole different world. Folks, a good friend of the family, 96-year-old Shammy, who is up in Minneapolis. Her birthday is it today? Was her birthday today? I think it's very close. Anyway, she fell. She's been in the hospital for a while. She hasn't been able to hear the program, and that depressed her. She listens to the program each and every day. She hadn't been able to. She's back now and able to. So we wanted to just extend our best wishes and a welcome back to Shammy, 96 years old, young, in Minneapolis. Well, Eden Prairie, but I mean it's it's close enough. Here's a story. Joe Kildea in the Daily Caller. Why has the Democrat convention been such a disaster? Daily Caller. The Daily Caller is Chatsworth Osborne Jr.'s website. When asked about the Democrat convention, Mitt Romney called it a celebration of failure. Now, granted, that might have been a little biased. Yet the spectacle coming out of the DNC this week is hard to ignore or even gloss over with well-intentioned words. It has been a disaster. Exhibit A, the Democrats' embarrassing reversal of their party platform where God got booed. Another embarrassment, Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz. Then there was the ABC Washington Post poll that was released Tuesday night showing Obama with a 47% approval rating. We've talked about that poll quite a bit on this program, but I'll tell you, it hasn't been discussed widely, but this poll was devastating news to Obama and the Democrats, and that's why it wasn't discussed much. His favorability, 47%. This was the poll earlier this week in which it was revealed that he is losing ground big time with women. And it had everybody on the Democrat side just stunned after all this money that they've spent tarring and feathering Romney and Ryan and the war on women and the devotion at the convention to they love women, they love abortion, they love condoms, they love birth control pills. And not only is Romney up about 10 with men, but Obama was only up 1 in this poll with women. And they were shocked. Last week, Republicans in Tampa talked about the $16 trillion national debt, job creation, and tax reform. This week in Charlotte, the Democrats are talking about free contraception, abortion rights, and even more public spending, or as they call it, investment. Perhaps the average female voter doesn't care as much about free contraception as the Democrats think they do. In contrast, the Republican convention, objectively speaking, went fairly smooth. You put another way, these conventions reflect the personalities of the two parties' respective nominees. On the right, Romney, a guy well-schooled in the art of good management. On the left, Obama, a man with no real management skills. And a convention that was folks, it really was a disaster. You can't judge this on the basis of the energy level of the delegates or the attendees. But it was. Whether people saw it that way or not, forget perception. I know perception is said to be reality. In this case, if this had been our convention, we would be feeling devastated. If this kind of stuff had happened at ours, we would think it's over. It was not done well. It was a mishmash. And your slogan is forward, and your heroes of this convention are dinosaurs, Ted Kennedy and Clinton. Your theme is war on women, and your two big stars are womanizers. One of your big stars you can't even invite, John Edwards. And then the pièce de résistance, the grand finale, is a dud with Obama's speech. In Tampa, the Republicans moved their convention around to accommodate a hurricane. In Charlotte, the Democrats panicked over a 30% chance of rain. When Republicans poked fun at the switcheroo, one Obama campaign official said, look, if we were worried about crowd size, we certainly wouldn't listen to Mitt Romney about how to build a crowd. Why is that? Because the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City was not one of the most watched, most financially successful Olympics in recent... Oh, it was. Everywhere you look, in comparison, the Republican convention was professional, accomplished what they set out to accomplish. The Democrat convention was an absolute disaster. Audio sound bites. Here's Bob Schieffer in crisis. Obama's speech, just didn't live up to Clinton's.
This was not the kind of speech that Bill Clinton made last night. It just didn't have that little spark, it seemed to me, that Clinton had over and over again. I thought it was a good speech. I thought he laid out his side of the story here. That soaring rhetoric that we heard in the speech in 2008, I didn't hear that tonight. Maybe it's just me, but maybe I'm still getting over the Bill Clinton speech last night.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think these people are totally in a tank and absorbed with Clinton. But, you see, it wasn't just me thinking this thing was a bomb. People on the left thought so, too. Here, Charlie Rose and David Brooks on the Charlie Rose Show on PBS last night. Listen to this.
Jody Cantor, we had David Maraniss in here. Peter Baker's got a new piece. There's coming up in Vanity Fair a piece by Michael Lewis. What comes out of this is these enormous competitiveness of the president, number one. Number two, sometimes something bordering on arrogance. And number three, that sometimes he can believe more in his abilities than justify.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. And then I think the fourth thing that I would add to that is the anti-political aloofness. This has been a conscious strategy of the people around him, separate him from the politicians. He's not a normal politician. He's a transformational figure.
Transformational to what?
I don't know, Messiah.
If you want to be a transformational figure, you have to be taking us somewhere.
Here's Charlie Rose, who 4 years ago admitted with Brokaw he didn't know who Obama was. He didn't know anything about him. And now he doesn't know what's transforming us to. You can't wait to vote for the guy. Charlie cannot wait to vote for Obama. Can't wait for Obama to be president. But he admits on his own TV show he hadn't the slightest idea who the guy is. And these pieces he's talking about, Jody Cantor, that's the Sunday New York Times piece, where people call Obama arrogant and aloof, not a nice guy. The Maraniss biography, which basically exposed the lies in Obama's books. And Peter Baker, that's the New York Times yesterday, where they said Obama hadn't given a good speech in I don't know how long. Or was that the Politico? Yeah, Baker's article was about something else. But it's all this stuff. What Charlie is alluding to and he doesn't get is that what these people are doing is preparing, if necessary, to throw Obama overboard in order to save the ideology. Which will happen if they think Obama is going to lose. If they ever reach that conclusion before the election, then it's time to circle the wagons around liberalism. Time to circle the wagons around socialism, statism, Trotskyites, Marxism, whatever. Circle the wagons and save that. That cannot be blamed if Obama is going to lose. Now, for David Brooks, I'd say, what's the problem, pal? Obama's crease in his slacks is identical to what it was 4 years ago when you said that the crease in his slacks really impressed you and told you he was going to be not just the president, he was going to be a good one. Has something happened to the crease in his slacks, David? No, I'm not making this up. David Brooks said that. I have to, new members of the audience every day here. Tune-in factor is out of sight. David Brooks of the New York Times actually said 4 years ago that one of the things impressed him about Obama was the crease in his slacks when they had lunch or dinner at George Will's house. And he wrote, he knew he was going to be a great president just because of that. Well, the crease in the slacks is still the same. So what's gone wrong?